If you're a new cruiser, you're gonna quickly find out there's a lot to learn. A lot to learn about how to plan, what to bring, what to expect. I mean, there are so many things that we have learned along the way. In this video, I'm sharing the best information that I've learned along the way to make cruising better, easier, and maybe even a little less stressful. Now, these are the categories that we'll be discussing. Things to do before you go, what to pack once on board, what to do on port days, and the top 4 cruise essentials to bring along. I have done other videos in the past with what to pack and what to bring that are a lot more lengthy, but I wanted to pull the top things just to get you started that I think could be really, really helpful on your cruise. So the first tip before you go, join a Facebook group. And I mean specifically the Facebook group for your cruise. There is always somebody who will start a group for the particular ship and sail date, and it is amazing contribution of information. You can post questions, people are posting information. These Facebook groups are a great tool to utilize in planning for your cruise, and even when you book up to a year in advance, there could already be a cruise page started. There's already information or a place for you to ask the necessary questions so you can understand how check-in works or how embarkation is, or all the different things that maybe more seasoned cruisers in the group are there to answer. So make sure you find your Facebook group. Next, now this is something you will end up doing regardless, but to save you some time and let you know in advance, download the app for that particular cruise line, because now everything is attached to that app. When you get on board, a lot of times that your boarding documents are listed there, your add-on purchases, but also your ability to make reservations at different restaurants. The dailies are located there so you can see what's going on from day to day, and the ability to book reservations for shows. So find the app that is for your particular cruise line so that you can start educating and practicing and exploring with it early, so you kind of have a good idea of what you're doing before you get on board. Aside from your cruise card, this is your lifeline while you're cruising. Okay, next, this one is big. Get travel insurance. Now, you may not have gotten travel insurance for any trip that you've ever gone on in the past. I can relate. We're not insurance people in general. We don't try to over purchase stuff in fear and protection of the what ifs. However, cruising's a little bit different, because if you have an injury at a port or something happens that you can't get on the ship, or you end up needing medical attention while you're at a port or on the cruise ship, but it's more than the cruise line can handle, they may need to airlift you off the ship or off that island if they don't have good medical care, and that is upwards of 6 figures and then some. And for the nominal fee that it costs, just get the insurance. You never know what's gonna happen. We used to say we're young and we're healthy and whatever, but it's just a little bit different with cruising. And I'm not saying to necessarily get the cruise insurance that is suggested when you book your cruise through the cruise line. What you wanna do is you wanna read the details of the policy and what's included and find what is gonna work for you. Some people will get the cruise line insurance, and then they'll also get an additional policy through a private company, but just read the fine print so you pick the best option for you. Many people book cruises because a passport isn't required to travel outside of the country. You're able to just use your birth certificate along with your state ID. However, it makes sense to get a passport. They're good for 10 years, and the fee, I believe, is like $150. I'm not exactly sure. Things happen, and if you miss the boat and you can't get back on the boat before it leaves and you need to get out of whatever country you're in, it is going to be extremely difficult without a passport. I've been hearing horror stories where you're just stuck. It's just safer, and for the cost that is associated with it, it really makes sense to just budget that in to your travel budget. Okay, you may not think you want to purchase any add-ons like specialty dining or drink packages or spa packages, but explore those options before you go. In case there's something you're interested in, you're gonna want to purchase it before you get on board because it's always at a discounted rate. So while I'm not saying to do it or not do it, like for us with one of the cruise lines, we found that a specialty dining package of like 3 or 4 meals was extremely inexpensive, that we're like, hey, well, let's just try this because it only costs this much money. We wouldn't have known if we didn't check. We would have just assumed it was more expensive and comparable to other cruise lines, which it wasn't. If you know you want Wi-Fi, if you know you want a drink package, just make sure you purchase it in advance, which leads me to my next tip. Make those reservations for your dining in advance before you get on the ship. With most cruise lines, there's availability to book on the app or the website before you board the ship. But if they don't, not all cruise lines do that, MSC does not. You have to book once you get on board. Make that one of the first things you do when you get on board because otherwise the times available could be very limited. And my last tip for before you leave, which you're already doing, use YouTube to do your research and get information. There's so much information out there now on YouTube. You can watch a tour of the ship, you can look at the dining rooms and the food and see how things are rated. It's a great tool to use prior to your sailing. Okay, now on to packing. I have 5 packing tips, and the first one might sound weird, but pack a lot. And what I'm saying is if it's your first cruise and you have an idea of what you think you're gonna wear or what you think you're gonna need, you're more than likely going to be wrong. That's just what happens. If you're not limited by the amount of weight that you can have in your luggage for a cruise line, or you can afford to bring an extra bag, just do it. Especially if you're on a longer cruise, like 7 nights or more. If it's only 3 or 4 nights, big deal. You can just figure it out. But if you're on a longer cruise, if you think you're gonna dress up all these nights, but then you're just feeling really casual, I just know I've changed my mind often, and I just love to have options. And honestly, if there's things that I don't wear, I don't utilize, it's really easy when I get home to just put those things away. And I just would rather be prepared than disappointed. Next, something you might not think about when you're traveling on a cruise ship versus just a random resort is bring your over-the-counter medications. Anything that if you think you might get a cold or the flu or whatever it is, decongestants, I don't know how to say this word, but it's something like that. Cough drops, ibuprofen, you name it. All these things are very costly at the cruise ship stores. And also, these stores are not open when the ship is at port. They are only open when you're at sea, so it could be a struggle to go ahead and obtain some of these things at the time that you need them. So I don't have to pay at the shop or the medical center, which that is even more of an exorbitant rate. Another thing that we didn't always think about is bring small bills. A lot of times we know to bring cash when you're on ports because there's different excursions or whatnot where they prefer cash or they charge fee for a credit card, but there are so many opportunities for tipping and add-ons that if we can't get change or figure out change, that now every time before we go on a cruise, we bring a lot of 5s, 10s, and even singles because it just gives you more flexibility. Now, if you don't have a drink package, look into the policy of your cruise line because some of them still allow you to bring wine and you can bring up to 1.5 liter bottle per person. So if there's 2 of you, you can bring 3 liters of wine on board to have in your room, and you can bring 12 packs of soda and water. This can help cut a lot of costs on board. Now, more and more cruise lines are eliminating this option and not allowing anybody to have any carry-ons. However, there are a couple that still do it, so just look into the rules to see if that might be a possibility for you. Okay, I have just a couple tips for once you're on board. And the first is, and I already said this actually, make reservations. If you weren't able to do them in advance, make reservations once you get on board to be able to grab the time slot that works the best for you. If you wait, then you're gonna have what's left over, and if you're like me and don't really want to eat at 9 or 9:30 p.m., more than likely I'm in bed by then, even on a cruise. I always want it to be earlier. The first thing you should do when you get on the ship, if you don't have all your reservations set, are go over and make those reservations. Next, on board, get your phone in airplane mode, especially if you have the Wi-Fi package. Many cruise lines, the only way that you can log into your Wi-Fi package is if you're in airplane mode, but the last thing you want is for your ship to sail away, because there is cellular service available on most cruise ships, and it will just charge you per minute, per text, per megabyte, whatever it is. A lot of people forget this, and they have the Wi-Fi package, and yet they're still paying the fees by connecting to the onboard cellular. Okay, and my last one for when you get on board, now this is if it is available on your cruise line, eat in the main dining room. No place is more packed on embarkation day than the buffets. This is every single cruise ship ever. People are hungry, they want quick food, and there's usually a main dining room open on most cruise lines. I think the only one right now that I don't think does is MSC, but it is a quiet, relaxing experience. It's never busy. I think most people don't even know that it's open, and the other people just want to get out by the pool or just have a quick bite at the buffet. So I love that as an option on embarkation day to just relax and get settled in and have a nice first meal. Okay, now I have 2 tips on port days. My first tip is don't be a pier runner. If you're a new cruiser, you might not know what that is, but a pier runner is what we all watch for at the onboard time to see if anybody's late to the ship. And an inkling, if it happens, is they usually make an announcement and they call for those people to come to guest services because they just want to make sure that they didn't miss them somehow when they got back on the ship. And the only reason that would typically happen is because you aren't on ship time on your phone, because you're on the local time and they don't match. Just verify all of this information and don't cut it close. We never cut it close. We're always on at least an hour before onboard time, because that just makes us more comfortable. The last thing we want to do is be stuck anywhere without all of our stuff. And here's another tip. I almost don't even want to share this because I want to keep it to myself, but this video is intended to help you, especially if you're new. Now, there are a lot of beach resorts that do an all-inclusive option. You can eat, you can drink, you can hang out at the beach, and then they normally have a pool. They're usually around $185 a person for the day, and with a family that can add up. What I've learned is with many people, they really just want to utilize the pool. They don't even really utilize the beach area, so they utilize the pool, the food, and the drinks. And my suggestion would be stay on the ship. We love port days where we don't like the port and we don't want to get off the ship, because we turn those into our pool days. We get the pool almost to ourselves. We can get a front row seat. We can get a drink at the bar without having to wait because everybody else is off the ship. But our drinks are free, our food is free, and we have good seats, and we didn't have to go anywhere. I mean, we have to remember, the ship is an experience in it of itself. We don't always have to get off to experience nice things, and sometimes it's a benefit to let everybody else go off, and we can really experience the value of what we have on that cruise ship. Okay, so I have 4 cruise essentials that I think are extremely helpful. This is my top 4. I have way more items that I bring along that help with cruising, but this is to keep it simple because it's probably already getting to be too long. And the first is heavy magnets, or magnets that can carry a lot of weight. I get these on Amazon, and I'm gonna put a link below. I don't have them out. Probably should have had them out for this. These are awesome. I think they were said to hold up to 135 pounds, which is from the ceiling. We learned the hard way. If you want to do it on the wall, it's not as much weight, but I'm going to tell you what I use them for. I wish I had some video and I don't. It gets stuff up out of the way. I will put our sun hats on there. I will put swimsuit cover-ups on there. I'll put my little crossbody on there. Anything that I'm not having to set on a table or take up precious space in the cabin, I hang up on the wall in with my magnets that You can't really see because you have to screw the little thing in here and whatever, but they're awesome. Next, you want something to hold your card. Your cruise card is your lifeline while you're on the ship. Some people use a lanyard. I would never do that. I would never want to carry my cruise card on my neck like a necklace, but to each their own, right? But I think I got some. Hold on. Oh, I did. So I got these when we went on a cruise and took the grandkids. And I just love these because it came in a pack of 3 different colors. So we hung them on the wall, then everybody knew which one was theirs and we didn't get confused because of the different colors. So this is a really cool option, and that's the lanyard, and then they come with the little plastic things to like slide it in, and then you just slide it out every time you need them to like scan your card. If you don't want that like myself, I have little crossbody bags that I enjoy using, and I have different colors and they're very lightweight. My favorite one is my white one, and I just got this last time. It has a couple little pockets where I can separate my money, my cruise card, my phone, and wear it close to me. And like I said, it weighs almost nothing. It's not even a lined bag, and it works out really, really perfect. But if neither of those work for you, and say you're a man who just wants to carry his phone around, and maybe that's all you want to have with you and you don't want to carry a big wallet, I love the magnetic wallets that stick to the phone because it's always an easy way to put your card right in there. So just pick an option that will work for you for your cruise card, because as I said, it's your lifeline and you have to have it with you at all times. All right, next is luggage tag holders. I left my other ones downstairs because I was just printing them. We're going on a cruise this weekend. This is a pack of like, I don't know, it was like 8. This was like $5, which I thought was a really good price. We used to print them, and then I have a laminator, and I would laminate them, and we'd cut them, and it was a whole thing, and then we'd zip tie them. But then we threw them away every time, and I'm like, why don't we just get these little things? And they come with these, and I thought we'd still use the zip ties, because I thought, well, these will probably not be very sturdy, and if they get ripped off and our stuff gets lost, that would be annoying. No, they are. They're like a wire, and it like turns to open, and you just hook it on after you print and put your luggage tag inside. So that, to me, and these, like I said, this was $5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know. There's like 6 or 7, or probably 8 of these. Non-surge power strip. We always bring a power strip, and we've always known to do that. But now, even if it has a little power light on it, even if it doesn't have a surge protector, it's getting confiscated. They're confiscating them all the time. It's gotta have no lights, no nothing, no frills. And you would think, well, if I'm going on a new cruise ship, they're gonna have a lot more plugs. Not true. It's important when you have things to charge, if you have multiple people, multiple devices. I bring obviously a lot of camera and electrical equipment. It just makes things easier, and you can get them for like $8, $10 on Amazon. I will have all of the items that I mentioned linked in the description box, but I will also put the other items that I love to bring on cruise ships if you want some ideas on what might help you cruise better. Now, if you have any ideas of what you think would help a new cruiser, leave it in the comments below. And if this video was helpful, I would ask you to like it, share it, subscribe to the channel if you would.
Please click the share and subscribe, okay?
And as always, thank you so much for watching. My intention is to always help you cruise better, and I hope I accomplished that today.